If you are like truly grateful for your life, if you are enjoying your life, if you are doing things that your potential client really desires, how can you not show them that? Because they're going to see it as inspiring and they're going to see it as something to aspire to. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, business and mindset mentor for coaches who want to overcome imposter syndrome and get the fuck out of their own way so they can refine their messaging, create killer content, and bring home 5 figures a month and 6 figures a year. We are on the 3rd episode of the month and the 2nd greatest hits episode of 2023. And this one is all about the fear of being seen and quote unquote bragging in the online space. But before we get into this episode, let me tell you how we can work together in 2024. So firstly, we have the High Vibe Holiday Bundle, which is totally insane. It's a 90-minute mindset and business intensive with me, my stacked 30-day content challenge, the Empowered and Effortless Sales Bundle, and my content course, Unfiltered and Filthy Rich, all for under $1,000. Unfiltered and Filthy Rich is $1,000 on its own. Okay, so this is literally insane. And this High Vibe Holiday Bundle is at the link in my show notes for December if you want a fat stack of my hottest offers in 2023 and an intensive with me. And I am also booking private clients into 2024. This is for coaches and online service providers who are ready to create 5-figure months and 6-figure years, who want to transform their mindset and shift into the identity of a business owner who loves what they do and does it well, and who desire mentorship as they scale in 2024. We do the mindset, the subconscious mind work, and we do all things online business, your content, your offers, your messaging, etc. The applications for both one-to-one coaching with calls and one-to-one Voxer coaching are at the link in my show notes as well. And I have something to share with you, something very exciting that's going to be launching in January, and I'll share that at the end of the episode. So let's get into it. Something I work on extensively with my private clients and clients in my mastermind, the Fraud Squad, is today's topic: the fear of being seen, as well as being seen as braggy in the online space. Because here's the thing, so many of us as young women have been conditioned to not take up space. We've been taught not to need help. We've been taught to not brag or boast. We've been taught to dim our light so other people won't feel uncomfortable. And yet here you are, a fucking coach or service provider on the internet. And it's basically a requirement to get in your audience's face every day and say, hey, pay me thousands of dollars. And if like getting in your audience's face made you cringe, it's true, whether it's cringy or not. You are on a proverbial stage, talking yourself and your services up and compelling your audience to work with you. And this is extremely unnatural for about 90% of the population. So if you beat yourself up about it, literally don't. You are a human being, a normal human being, and it makes total sense, especially if you have always just stayed small, quiet, you don't want to be noticed your entire life. So showing up on social media and being seen and talking yourself up is obviously going to be difficult. It was super hard for me in the beginning. Like, I didn't even like my friends focusing on me when I had conversations with them. I always pointed the conversation towards them. I was so uncomfortable with compliments and receiving, and this is something that I've had to heal for my own money mindset to improve. And from a historical perspective, this makes sense. The mentality around belonging is real, and there is safety in being a part of the pack. So when you show up on social media, you are literally separating yourself from the pack, and that can feel super dangerous to the primitive mind. It can quite honestly feel like we are heading for death to our nervous systems. It can feel jarring and completely unsafe and can be very dysregulating. If you feel anxious or nervous before you show up, before you go live, or if you go into freeze response, which is a passive or frozen state when trying to create content, this is an alarm bell from your nervous system that you feel unsafe, even if it's a very subtle change in your physiology. And it makes sense. It makes total sense why you would feel this way. I actually have a meditation and an EFT tapping sequence that I made exclusively for my clients for when they are about to do content creation, because again, it can be very dysregulating, and that's why so many of you guys freeze up, don't know what to say, think you sound stupid, delete your Instagram stories, etc. Have you ever compared yourself to the ways that others show up? I hear this a lot from people. They're like, Jill, how the fuck do you show up so often and always with something to say? And the thing is I see everything I have to say on my platform as valuable. I don't discredit myself. I don't think I'm stupid. And I think that my thoughts are valuable to my potential soulmate clients and my audience. I also used to have a lot of judgments about people, specifically influencers actually, who would show up and share stories. And when I was a younger coach, I would see other coaches talking about themselves and their coaching, and I would feel very judgy about how they were doing it. But judgment is really just our fears projected onto other people. I was afraid that if I showed up in that way, that people would think I was annoying. I was afraid that if I sold every day, people would think I was salesy or pushy. I was afraid that if I shared client wins, people would think I was taking credit for my client wins and that I was bragging about myself. And when you're a woman who has been taught to put other people's emotions before your own, when you're a woman who is taught to be nice above all else, to make others feel comfortable even if you feel uncomfortable, and to prioritize being liked over everything else, it is very unconscious, but you will shy away from doing the very things required to sell in the online space, like show up consistently, sell your services with tenacity and boldness, share client wins and testimonials, and talk yourself up as the coach that can help others. The reason why imposter syndrome comes into play here is because so many of y'all don't want to talk yourself up, share your own wins or client wins, or post incessantly about your services because of the fear of not measuring up. This will also unconsciously manifest into the fear of being seen, because what if you're seen by others and you're being recognized and people want to work with you and they're disappointed, or they think that you don't measure up? These poisonous thoughts that you believe are the truth will seep into your marketing, no doubt, if left unchecked. Marketing yourself as a coach online takes a level of self-absorption and a level of audacity. Self-absorption by way of loving and accepting yourself, because it's going to feel impossible to talk yourself up, claim your coaching or services the shit, and consistently market your services if you don't. And I want you to think about your own judgments around this and where you may have learned these judgments or learned that it was bad to celebrate or think highly of yourself. For me, I had a friend in high school who would routinely shoot me down when I wanted to celebrate myself at all. I remember making a good play in flag football. I fucking used to love flag football so much. And she said, "Oh, you just think you're so good, don't you?" I was 15 at the time, and I felt so stupid for wanting to feel good about myself. And emotions, especially negative ones, are the reason why experiences stick with us, because we can remember how something felt and it brings us back to that moment in time. And if something made us feel shitty, it's our natural impulse to not want to experience that feeling again. And if we can get an inkling that something might make us feel that way, we unconsciously avoid it and can self-sabotage ourselves in the process, because our unconscious desires are not worried about what's best for us. They just want to keep us safe. Especially because the best things for us usually require us to push our comfort zone, to do things that scare us. So what if it just takes your nervous system some time to get accustomed to showing up and bragging and talking about your services? What if you didn't beat yourself up for when showing up feels hard or difficult, because you know it is just your brain and your body getting on board with this foreign action you're not used to taking? Even if you're so used to showing up and not selling directly, that is even something you will have to be accustomed to doing. Like I'm telling you, it took me time to acclimatize to directly selling my services without a long ass Instagram story where I gave value and then sold at the end. All of our actions become repetition at some point, but they also need to begin at some point too. And your nervous system, your brain, your body, they need time to get on board with this new life-threatening thing that you're doing, even if you rationally, consciously know that you're not going to die by uploading an Instagram story. Or 13, or 15, or 30 of them. Hey guys, I hope you're loving today's episode. I am just taking a brief pause in today's episode to share with you a client testimonial. These testimonials are either from group coaching clients or clients who are in my one-to-one coaching program. And I can't wait for you to hear how I have changed their lives and their businesses for the better.
Hi, my name is Sequoia and I am an SEO expert and website designer for female entrepreneurs. I worked with Jill for a full year, and in that year, I went from being super stressed out, always thinking about my business, constantly living in scarcity and fear that I was doing something wrong, feeling like the energy I was putting in wasn't enough and that I needed to stress out to make money, to allowing things to flow effortlessly and calling in what I want and having space for my business. And I think the best part about working with Jill is that not only does she coach you through things, but she teaches you how to coach yourself so that you come out of it with the tools you need to continue the work beyond working with her.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Now let's get back to the episode. You have to learn how to have the audacity, the gall, the balls to get out there and do your thing, the guts to share your client wins, the guts to say I'm the best at what I do. I have multiple friends in the online space from the mastermind that I used to be in, and something that we all have in common is that we are ridiculously confident about our services. Like I'm literally always responding to their Instagram stories being like, holy shit, the balls on you to say this. Because when you have the audacity to be confident in yourself and your services, you will be rewarded sooner than you even realize. Having the audacity to share client wins and own where your credit is due, or to share your own wins, or to say that your coaching or your service is the shit, it goes against everything you've been taught as a woman, but it's fucking magnetic as a coach or service provider selling her services. I even think about the word salesy, and I just think it's crazy that we made it subliminally bad to sell our services. Like, I had this client once, and her mom was reviewing her webinar. And when my client got to the end where she was selling her 3-month coaching package, her mom said it was a bit too salesy. And when she told me this over Voxer, I said, no offense to your mom, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. It sounds salesy because you're selling. It's supposed to sound salesy. None of this skirting around your sales, none of this pretending to not be selling something and being secretive about it. If you are a coach or a service provider who markets her services online, you are selling a service. And I want you to have the audacity to be salesy as fuck. And that might require a level of self-absorption and definitely a level of being comfortable being seen. And I was coaching a client in the Fraud Squad mastermind recently. And something that I told her when she was like, I feel heavy when I go to show up or share testimonials or share that I'm like, living this amazing life and signing clients and going on vacation. And if it's relevant to your ideal client, you need to realize that you are living your ideal client's best fucking life. You are living their best life. They want the results that you have, and they aren't looking at you with jealousy or like vitriol or looking at you as if like, fuck this bitch. When I think about people like Amanda Francis or these other coaches in the online space who I see their stuff and their stuff is like luxurious, or they're going on vacation, or if they're like posting what they got when they went shopping or something like that, or they have like the freedom to take off like 3 or 4 months at a time and go traveling, blah, 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 all of the stuff. I'm so inspired. Like, I am so inspired, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to get to that one day. I am not like, fuck that bitch. I'm sure there are people who are like that, but they are not catering to that audience, and you are not either. If it is relevant, if you are living a life or getting results that your potential client desires, there is actually a job for you to do, and that is showing that it's possible, especially if you're actually living it. Like, I'm not saying that if you help them sign clients and make lots of money and blah, 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 and you're not signing clients, you're not making any money, and you're just kind of like, oh, like I'm pretending, like obviously that is unethical. But if you are like truly grateful for your life, if you are enjoying your life, if you are doing things that your potential client really desires, how can you not show them that? Because they're going to see it as inspiring, and they're going to see it as something to aspire to. They are going to see it as, this is evidence that it's possible for me. And that is always where I come from whenever I post my vacations, or when I post that I'm grateful for my business, or the freedom that I have inside of it, or the clients that I'm working with, or the confidence that I feel when I show up, because I know that the clients who are desiring to work with me, like, they want that. They want that life. They want the confidence. They want the self-belief. They want the clients. And I am not catering to them when I'm holding that in or playing small with the results that I have. So I want you to sit down and I want you to brain dump all the judgments you have of others and yourself when it comes to being seen on the internet and when it comes to selling your services. And I want you to include where you learned these judgments and fears from. And then light that bitch on fire when you've dumped it all out, taking back your energy and vowing to start to acclimatize your nervous system to this new version of yourself. The version of you that shows up just a little bit each day if you need to start slow, and getting yourself comfortable with showing yourself off. Do something that makes you cringe a little bit. Upload an Instagram story with a client win and own it and be like, I am so proud of this client. She did X, Y, Z. Because of our work together. Own it. Cringe as you post the post, okay? Your work is too important and too necessary to not be seen. It deserves to be shared, but we can't experience it, and other people can't experience it either at the degree that you can really deliver unless you put yourself out there. Your soulmate clients can't find you and love you and want to work with you if you don't take that step first. So I would love to work with you on the fear of being seen, imposter syndrome, and being ridiculously in love with your business so you can bring in 5 figures a month. In private coaching, we refine your messaging, give your content a glow up, and you'll create 5 figures a month and 6-figure years. I also have spots available for one-to-one Voxer coaching, and my High Vibe Holiday Bundle is on sale for less than $1,000, which includes a 90-minute mindset and business intensive, my stacked 30-day content challenge, the Empowered and Effortless Sales Bundle, and of course the content course, Unfiltered and Filthy Rich, all for under $1,000, you guys. All those links are at my show notes. And finally, the announcement. I am launching a sales mini course in January, which will pair perfectly with the content course. If you so choose to get them both, it is going to be a mini course that will teach you exactly how to show up and sell in your posts and in your Instagram stories. I can't wait for you to get your hands on it. More details are to follow, and all offers and bundles and links to apply to private coaching and the High Vibe Holiday Bundle are at the link in my show notes, like I said. I love you and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays this week. I hope you all have a safe holiday. Mwah, kisses. I'll see you next week for our last episode of the year. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at YourCoachJill. See you next time.